Junior Agogo woke up in a London hospital bed and tried to scream. Nothing came out. January 29, 2015, the man who had made 24 million Ghanaians dance could not make a sound. His mouth moved like a fish gasping for air. His mind screamed words that his voice box had forgotten how to shape. The striker who once roared celebrations that shook stadiums was drowning in silence. But this was not supposed to happen to heroes. 5 years later, Junior Agogo was dead, aged 40, alone. The teammate who once mobbed him after goals, "None gets in touch with me," he had whispered in his final interview, struggling with every word. When the stroke happened, they all said no because I could not speak. Because here is the cruelest irony in football history. The man who created the most joyful celebration Africa had ever seen died voiceless and forgotten. February 3rd, 2008, Accra Sports Stadium, 82nd minute, Ghana vs Nigeria. The ball hung in the air like a prayer. Junior's eyes locked onto it, and in that split second, he was not in a stadium. He was back on the dusty streets in Accra, barefoot, 8 years old, proving the bigger boys wrong. The ball met his foot, bang, goal, and then he did something that made grown men cry and children dance for the next decade. He bounced, not once, not twice, but again and again, like pure joy had exploded from his soul. The kangaroo dance, 15 seconds of ecstasy that united 24 million people in a perfect harmony. But how does a boy rejected by club after club become the striker who stops time with a single hop? And how does the same man who gave a nation its greatest football moment end up dying alone, abandoned by the very people who once celebrated with him? Because this is not just a story about football. This is about what happens when the thing that makes you immortal cannot save you from being human. 3 a.m. in Accra, Margaret Agogo found her son in their compound, kicked a flat ball against the concrete wall. Junior, go to bed. He ignored her. The ball felt right against his foot. The rhythm was perfect. The neighbors complained. The night watchman begged him to stop. Junior's legs would cramp. His mother would find him asleep against that wall, still clutching the flat ball. But he never stopped. While other kids dreamed of becoming doctors, Junior Agogo already wore Ghana's black stars in his mind, already heard 50,000 voices chanting his name, already scored the goal that would make his father proud. At 15, Junior faced the decision that would either shatter everything or define it. His father held the Sheffield Wednesday letter. "You sure about this, son? England is cold. Those boys have been training since they were babies." Junior didn't hesitate. "Papa, I'm going to play for Ghana one day. I'm going to score goals that make people cry with joy." His father stared at this boy who had never felt winter, never lived away from family, never faced English football's brutal machine that crushed dreams like eggshells under steel boots. "Then go," he whispered. "But remember, every step you take carries all of us." Therefore, Sheffield became Junior's University of Pain. Sheffield's rain cut like glass. The training ground smelled of wet grass and teenage sweat. Junior stepped in Sheffield Wednesday's academy like a warrior entering battle. Every player around him had been groomed since age 7. They spoke tactics fluently. They knew exactly when to press, when to hold, when to release. Junior played with raw hunger. For 2 years, he barely saw first team action. Coaches shipped him out on loan. Chesterfield, Lincoln City, Chester. Each move felt like exile. But here's what separated champions from casualties. Junior treated every 4th division match like a World Cup final. In England's brutal lower leagues, seconds meant survival. October 1999, the Deva Stadium pitch was a muddy battlefield. Rain had turned the penalty area into a swamp. Chester versus Cheltenham. The score was tight. Junior had been fighting for every touch. His jersey caked with mud. The defender marking him grabbed his shirt with steel clamp fingers. "You are not scoring today, lad." Junior smiled, rain dripping from his chin. "Watch me." The ball dropped between them like a gift from heaven. The defender lunged. Junior flagged it with his right foot. His boot struck leather with a crack that echoed off empty stands. The ball compressed against his instep, then exploded forward like a cannonball. The net bulged. Silence. Then the sparse crowd erupted like a volcano. Junior's teammates mobbed him like he had won the Champions League. In the director's box, Chester scouts scribbled furiously, "This boy is different. This boy is dangerous." That goal changed everything because it proved that talent could transcend any stage, no matter how small. The journeyman's heart. Junior's career would take him through the football pyramid, never staying in one place long enough to get comfortable, always having to prove himself anew. Some called it instability. Junior saw it differently. Each new club forced him to adapt or perish. He learned that comfort was the enemy of hunger. While established stars would rely on reputation, journeymen like him had to earn their place every single day. Bristol Rovers discovered this truth. Between 2003 to 2006, Junior scored 41 goals in 126 matches. Not because he was the most talented, but because he was the hungriest. Every goal carried the weight of proving he belonged. Every celebration was for the boy who kicked balls against compound walls at 3 a.m. But those 41 goals caught the attention of sleeping giants. Therefore, when Nottingham Forest scored, Junior knew bigger stages were beckoning. The phone rang in Junior's Nottingham apartment. Rain streaked the windows. "Junior, this is Claude Leroy, Ghana's national team coach." Junior's heart stopped. "We want you for the Africa Cup of Nations on home soil, in front of your people." Silence stretched for 3 heartbeats. Outside, Nottingham's traffic hummed. "Can you handle that pressure?" Junior's voice cracked with 13 years of stored emotion. "Coach, I've been waiting my whole life for this call. I will die before I let Ghana down." But first, he had to prove himself worthy of the Black Stars jersey. Nottingham Forest, where legends were born. Nottingham Forest needed a striker who could handle pressure. They found a man forged by it. Junior's first season yielded 7 league goals as he adjusted to championship football. But it was in his second campaign, the 2007 to 2008 season, where everything clicked. 13 crucial goals helped drag Forest toward promotion. The moment that defined his Forest career came against Gillingham in 2007. The city ground buzzed with expectation as Junior completed his hat-trick with an overhead kick that left the crowd speechless. As he hewed away from that third goal, arms spread like an eagle soaring over the Trent, Junior felt destiny calling. The boy from Accra streets was ready for his nation's biggest stage. Claude Leroy had been watching. Ghana's coach knew exactly what he had found. 3 goals that stopped time. January 20th, 2008, Accra Sports Stadium. The air was thick with expectation. 40,000 Ghanaians held their breath as their heroes faced Guinea. Junior felt the weight of 24 million dreams on his shoulders. But the greatest test of all was yet to come. Goal number 1 versus Namibia. The statement. 4 days later, same stadium, different opponent. 41st minute, a cross floated into the box like a prayer on evening breeze. Bodies collided, jerseys grabbed, elbows flew. Through the chaos, Junior appeared, summoned by collective hope, and finished with surgical precision. The stadium did not just erupt, it exploded. Children threw their school caps in the air. Grown men hugged strangers. Press box rattled like a drum. Even the ball boys forgot their duties and danced. That goal was not just about 3 points. Junior was ready, but Nigeria would test where he could handle football's cruelest pressure. Goal number 2 versus Nigeria, the moment of immortality. Ghana versus Nigeria was not just football, it was war disguised as sport. Decades of rivalry compressed into 90 minutes of pure intensity. The match had ebbed and had flowed like a tide. Michael Essien had dragged Ghana level in the dying seconds of the first half. His strike in the 42nd minute, silencing the Nigerian drums temporarily. 82nd minute, score tied 1-1. Both teams desperate, legs heavy with exhaustion. The crowd sensed something enormous building. Then chaos erupted in the Nigerian box. Most strikers would have panicked, rushed, blown the chance that finds careers. Junior steadied himself like he was still on those Accra streets, like he had all the time in the world, like this moment had been waiting for him since he was 8 years old. Time stopped. Bang! A tapping into the net with unstoppable force. The crowd's roar hit Junior's chest like thunder. 40,000 voices became one primal scream that shook the stadium foundations. But what happened next became folklore. The ball hit the net and something primal exploded from Junior's soul. He did not run to the corner flag, he bounced. The first hop passed from his legs like a spring unleashed every rejection letter. For every coach who had looked right through him, every night he had wondered if his father was wrong. Second hop, higher, more joyful. For the coaches who called him not quite good enough. For the scouts who saw his address and assumed he was soft. For every teammate who had whispered he didn't belong. Third hop, pure ecstasy, launching him toward the sky. For his father who wondered if he had made a mistake. For his mother who found him training at 3 a.m. For every Ghanaian child who needed to see that dreams could become flesh and blood. His arms full of stored rage and joy. In the stands, a 70-year-old grandmother dropped her walking stick and started hopping. Throughout Ghana, the celebration spread like wildfire. Children in Kumasi stopped their games to bounce. Market women in Takoradi hopped between their stores. The dance spoke a universal language of triumph that needed no translation. For 15 seconds, 24 million Ghanaians moved as one organism. united by pure joy. Goal number 3 versus Ivory Coast. Rising from heartbreak, Ghana's dream was crushed in the semi-final against Cameroon. A 1-0 defeat that felt like death by 1,000 cuts. Hearts shattered across the nation like dropped glass. But in the third place playoff against Ivory Coast, Junior Agogo delivered one final masterpiece. His goal in the 4-2 victory was not just about bronze medals. It was about proving that champions rise even in defeat. We did not win the tournament, Junior said afterward, but we won something bigger. We won our dignity back. 3 goals, 1 tournament, immortality secured. After Ghana, Junior's career continued across continents like a restless spirit seeking new challenges. Colorado Rapids, conquering the Rockies. The Rocky Mountain area beats his lungs like frozen needles. Each breath tasted metallic, thin as paper. His African blood rebelled against an altitude so brutal that European teammates vomited after sprints. First week, I thought I was dying. By the third week, I felt like Superman flying over Denver. 10 goals in his first MLS season. The American dream, Ghanaian style. Each new challenge taught him that football spoke every language. The heart translated it differently everywhere. Therefore, when his legs finally whispered their surrender, Junior had learned to speak fluent in 17 different dialects. Ghana's colors. You did not just represent yourself, you represented every kid kicking a ball in Accra, every parent dreaming their child might escape poverty through football, every fan who believed this beautiful game could unite a nation. That pride would have crushed ordinary men. Junior used it as rocket fuel. But time was running out faster than anyone knew, and fate had prepared an opponent more merciless than any defender. Chapter 6. By 2012, the legs that had carried Junior across 4 continents finally whispered, enough. His knees ached after morning runs. His calves cramped during simple drills. The body that had never failed him was sending warnings he could not ignore. Retirement arrived like sunset. Inevitable. Bittersweet. Final. The hardest part was over, he thought. He was wrong. Something far worse than any tackle was already hunting him. January 29, 2015, Junior woke in his London home and something was terribly wrong. He tried to speak, nothing came out. His mouth moved like a fish gasping for air. His mind screamed words that his voice box had forgotten how to shape. Panic flooded his chest like ice water. The hospital room smelled of disinfectant and broken dreams. Monitors beeped like digital heartbeats, counting down to an uncertain future. The first doctor to examine him had seen this before, too many times. Athletes in their 30s. Bodies pushed beyond limits, blood vessels rebelling without warning. Junior stared at the white ceiling tiles. Each one looked like a goal he would never score again. His right hand, also so precise with volleys, trembled as he tried to lift a plastic cup. When I woke up in the hospital, I had thought, yet I was like, where is my voice? Junior would struggle to explain months later. The doctors had said, try to speak, and nothing came out. But isolation flowed like a shadow. Now, nobody gets in touch with me, he admitted. I used to talk to national teammates, yet when the stroke happened, they all said no because I couldn't speak. Therefore, Junior fought his toughest opponent, his own mortality in silence. No amount of skill, determination, or heart could defeat this enemy that lived inside his own blood vessels. Richard Kingston, Ghana's former goalkeeper, later publicly apologized. I would like to apologize on behalf of some of the players who couldn't reach out to Junior Agogo and his family. We wish him speedy recovery. August 22nd, 2019, the warrior finally laid down his arms. Junior Agogo was gone, aged just 40. By midday, shockwaves had circled the globe faster than any of his goals. MLS clubs tweeted condolences. The Guardian ran its bulletin at 8:47 UDT. Social feeds exploded with hashtag Rest in Peace Agogo as millions of thumbs typed tribute their hearts couldn't fully express. In Nottingham, Forest supporters post made conversation, paid halfway to lips. Throughout Ghana, a nation mourned the loss of its brightest stars. Andre Ayew, Ghana's captain, struggled for words. one of the worst days in my life. Rest in peace, big bro Junior Agogo. Words indeed fail me. 2 days later, fans found release in ritual. August 24th, Bristol Rovers players warmed up wearing number 9 shirts bearing Agogo. Both sides shared a minute applause beneath a rest in peace Agogo scoreboard. The sound rolling across the stadium like blessed thunder. August 26th, Nottingham Forest City ground. Supporters stood in the 23rd minute, honoring his promotion-winning squad number, and chanted his name until the stands vibrated with love that could wake the dead. October 2019, 150 friends returned to Swiss Cottage for a memorial tournament. They raised £800 for the Stroke Foundation, turning grief into hope, making Junior's struggles serve others who face the same silent battle. Chapter 9: The Dance Lives Forever. In Ghana's playgrounds today, 7-year-olds who never saw Junior play still hop after goals. The dance passes down like folklore whispered during bedtime stories about heroes who looked like them. In Bristol, aging Rovers fans still sing his name when their voices grow thick with beer and memory. In Colorado, rapid supporters still remember the African striker who conquered the Rockies. Junior's legacy was not just about goals and trophies. It was proof that dreams without boundaries could any stage, that a boy from anywhere could make the world dance with him, that joy shared multiplied until he became eternal. The story whispered every player, every overlooked talent, every dreamer told they weren't good enough. Keep going, your moment is coming. And when it arrives, dance like the whole world is watching, because sometimes it is watching. Junior Agogo had not just played football, he had lived it, made it sing, turned it into poetry written with his feet, and punctuated it with hops that reached toward heaven. The boy from Accra had become the man who danced his way into forever. That was not just a football story, that was a human story. The dance continues, the legend never dies.